You're watching Victory Outdoors, proudly presented by Expedition Archery.
So this year I made a big step in life. I moved to a different state. I ended up moving to Kansas. I was pretty nervous at first, but it ended up turning out okay. Something I was really excited to do was a deer hunt in Kansas. I had never deer hunted a different state before, so it was pretty exciting to me. The terrain is very different, and it's just a very different way of hunting than compared to Iowa. With being down in Kansas, first thing I did was scout public land. There were a lot of small pieces around, so I ended up setting up a cell cam, and about after 3 weeks, I was not having the bucks I thought I'd have on camera. So with not having the bucks on camera, luckily one of my coworkers had a friend who was a farmer, and he got me permission to hunt his buddy's land. So with that, first thing I did was I set up a scrape post with a scrape fix powder. I didn't have my camera up for very long, and one night I was going through the photos, I was getting an absolute stud popped up. This was the biggest deer I've had on camera. So after seeing this buck, he instantly became my #1 target. So I decided that I was going to hunt out of blind. Usually I don't deer hunt out of blind, but where I was hunting, it was just a crop circle. There were no trees at all besides sagebrush. And so my only option would be using a blind. So I got a blind set up, and I was hoping that it wouldn't spook the deer too much, and it didn't end up spooking them at all. While I was trying to pattern this buck, I wasn't too worried about leaving the state and heading back home. My brother had a deer tag, so I was pretty excited to come back and take him out. So the first evenings that we did back on the new property, we were blind going in besides doing the aerial scouting, so we didn't exactly know where to go, what trees to look for, so we're just kind of on the go. Luckily, we both had tree saddles, so we were able to be mobile and find a good tree and get set up. After Hay and I got set up, it wasn't maybe 10 minutes and a shooter came out for him. Instantly, we were both pretty excited. New property, we didn't know what to expect or if we were even going to see any deer. But so we had this buck come out. He was probably about 150 yards away. He came out with this draw and just bedded down. And that was it for us that night. He just stayed bedded down the whole night, and we tried rattling at him, grunting at him, and he would not move for anything. With high hopes, the next afternoon, Hay and I went back to the same spot. We left our tree saddle set up. We left everything there so we could easily and quietly get back up in there. So after we got set up, the same buck came out and bedded around the same area. I figured this time maybe we'd try and stay quiet because he didn't like the calls before, but nothing happened. He just bedded in that same spot. So as night went on, hoping that this buck would stand up and come our way, it looked like he wasn't going to do that. But to our surprise, a different buck came out, and he was aggressive. I grabbed my rattling antlers, pounded them together, and this instantly caught that buck's attention. He came marching right up to us.
man.
As this deer stepped into a window for me, I thought Hayden had the same windows I did, which did not turn out to be that way. I stopped the deer for him, which I should not have done, and he was at full draw. And this deer's at 30, 40 yards, just sitting there, just looking for any movement, any sound. He's looking for his buck that he's picturing his. Watched this buck run away, but we didn't see him go down, so I wasn't for sure at the moment how good the shot was. It looked good to me, so we ended up actually looking at the video and we saw that he smoked him. I ended up getting Dressel to tag along with us, and all three of us went out there. After a short track job, we were able to find him. He maybe ran 100 yards from where he was shot. It ended up being a hard shot, absolutely perfect, and just thankful that I was able to come up for a couple days and able to get my brother on a buck.
This segment is brought to you by Reveal by Tacticam.
So after going back to Kansas, I made a couple sits for that buck. He was still showing up at night, and I was just getting frustrated. I'm out here in Kansas for the rifle season. I decided to put down my bow for a little bit. I haven't had very much luck at all. I don't even think I've seen a shooter with my bow in my hand. So with that being said, I got my rifle out right now, and I actually had a buddy that's driven by this spot, and he said he's seen my #1 shooter last night and this morning, but this morning he ended up going south, so I'm hoping tonight that he's going to work his way back like he did last night, and just hoping that he comes by, I guess. Super windy though. I think it's like 55 right now, but other than that, I guess it's going to cross my fingers. Okay guys, so tonight I'm in the field where I sat last night, and I probably saw around 20 deer. They all came from this cattle field right into this milo field. So tonight, this morning, I decided I was going to go and drive around, and I drove by this milo field, and I'm very positive that I saw my #1 shooter 15 yards off the road heading into the cattle field. If not, it was another giant big buck that I don't know about, but this thing was huge. So tonight I'm all set up. I got a southwest wind, so it's coming from that way, going that way. Perfect wind for right here. I just got into this little plum brush, and I got my clippers with me, and I clipped me out a little area. I feel very good about it. The only thing I think that can mess me up tonight would be just people driving around. Last night I had two different trucks come by and just stop right in the middle of the road where these deer cross from the cow field into this milo field. So other than that, I feel very good about the spot. So I'm just gonna sit here, cross my fingers, and hopefully he's gonna come back out. But this was a big buck I saw this morning, so I'm pretty excited. I was sitting there, I had some does come out and work in front of me, which really got my hopes up. And those does worked about 200 yards from me. And so I was getting pretty excited, hoping that, hopefully that buck would be right behind him. And to my surprise, that's exactly what happened. Whenever he first came out, I couldn't tell for sure if it was actually him or not. It was a little bit darker than I would have liked. Looking at him through my binos, looking at him through the scope, looking at him through a camera, I could tell that it was a big buck. I whistled at him a bunch. He'd lift his head, look at me, and I just wanted to make for sure that this was him. And after deciding, I'm like, there's no other buck this big, so it's gotta be him. I don't know if I just smoked him or not. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. Gotta check that video. Oh, 4 minutes until shooting light's over. I don't know if he just went down or not. I gotta watch that video. So I hopped in my truck, and as soon as my headlights hit him, I instantly knew it was him. I was super excited, super glad. It was after targeting a mature buck like that and being the biggest buck I was going after, I was just filled with excitement.
I completely whiffed the first shot. I might have just jerked it. I'm not going to come with any excuses for that. But I just completely whiffed my first shot. And my second shot, absolutely just dropped him. This is actually my #1 buck I was going after this year. I saw him this morning driving around, and he was 15 yards off of this property going to another one, and I was kind of bummed about it, but I thought, hey, I'll just come back here tonight. I'll get set up past South Point. It was completely perfect, calm night, and he came out probably about 6 minutes before shooting light. By the time I shot him, it was probably 4 minutes. It's kind of getting dark, but freaking, this thing is a tank. He's absolutely huge. Big neck, big body. He's freaking just a big deer overall. I am so pumped.